No, I wouldn't.
Sherry Burger, get your butt down here in person. Why are you?
Yeah.
Come on, lady.
Hey, Spencer's here twice.
Great.
Okay.
I know.
That's good.
He is here. Yeah, I have my presentation that I'm just gonna share on the screen so you all can see.
Okay.
Alright.
Wonderful. Okay. You good, Jody? Wonderful. Okay, well then we will start the work session for the city council meeting of October the 28th. And we will start with a public hearing. We're gonna start with a request for change in zoning from an R12 to an R119 for the property located at 65 East Mountain Vale. So this is a comment period, right?
Hot topic
Christie,
today.
do you have any comments?
Just that I am wanting to sell a piece of my property, so that's why I'm wanting to, include.
Wonderful. Okay. Nobody online has a comment? Then we will go to number 2. Amending the city fee schedule, and that's been canceled, so we will close the public hearing. We'll go to number 3. That'll be the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter presentation and discussion with Kirsten Munford. And,
And these guys, this to you guys, and
Yeah,
then
perfect.
Randy's actually gonna present it, so.
oh, nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect, thanks. Okay, my name is Brandy and I'm from the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter. So we appreciate the opportunity to share some factual information regarding community cats and apparently proposed ordinance changes related to trap, neuter, vaccinate, return, or TNVR. And our goal is to ensure that decisions balance animal welfare with citizen needs. So we compiled statistics from the animal shelter in regards to Woodland Hills for the last 2 years, or for the year 2024 and so for 2025, and that should be on your sheet for you to look at. So in the year 2024, we had 20 cats brought in from Woodland Hills to the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter. And in comparison to other cities, that is very low. So doesn't appear to be much of a cat problem in Woodland Hills, but that is how many that were brought in. For comparison, 19 were brought in by citizens over the counter to the shelter, and 1 was brought in by an officer for that year. 3 out of those 20 were identified as feral or not social. Out of all the cats, 10 were adopted, 2 did pass away due to age or illness, 6 were euthanized, 3 of those being feral, 3 due to illness, and then 2 were redeemed by owners.
What does redeemed mean?
Means an owner came to the shelter and claimed the cats. They identified their pet and took it home. For 2025, we had even less cats come in this year. So far, we've only had 8. 7 of those brought in by citizens. 1 was an owner release, so that one wasn't a stray or a found animal. 3 were identified as feral. 5 out of the 8 cats were adopted. 2 of those were actually feral cats that were adopted as barn cats. 1 was euthanized as feral and 2 were sent with rescue organizations. So kind of give you an idea of the cats coming in from your city and where those cats are going. So these numbers, when we look at them, do indicate that most of the cats brought from Woodland Hills seem to be strays for the most part, or nuisance brought in by members of the public. So the majority of the adopted cats we also find were kittens. So most of those ones that are brought in are very easily adopted. And then in this case, TNVR in your cities could reduce the number of kittens, therefore it would reduce the amount of cats coming into the shelter, if that was a program that you're utilizing. However, we don't see it as ethical to use TNVR cats in areas where they are unwanted or are a nuisance to members of the community. Let's see. So also shown in these statistics is the majority of the cats brought in from Woodland Hills are brought in by members of the public. And currently the Utah County Sheriff's Department does cover Woodland Hills for animal control services. And in our discussions with them, they had noted that their deputies would not be involved in transport to anywhere for cats but to the shelter, as is currently dictated to their deputies. That means it would be up to the city and volunteers, which I'm sure there already are, within the area to conduct TNVR. And then, let's see. So in the 2024 statistics, we wanted to point out, so there were 2 cats that were claimed by owners. Both of these cats came into the shelter. They were not fixed. They were friendly. They were of the age to have been TNVR'd, if that's what you call it. But they were ones that were owned. So that is an issue to consider, that these were not community cats. So not all cats that are found in the community are community cats. Some of them are owned and should go through a stray hold to give an owner the chance to come and claim them.
How long is the stray hold?
For the state of Utah, it is 5 business days.
Okay, so if they're brought in, if I remember correctly, your cat is actually, or your pet is actually your personal property. So if it's brought in and just, because somebody chapped it and said, oh, we think this is a feral cat, and it's then goes through this TVNR process, you could be liable for damaging someone's personal property, basically.
It could potentially be an issue, because you are technically altering someone's pet, someone's property.
Without their
without it.
knowledge.
Yeah.
So there's no 5-day waiting period with the TNVR program, but you, by state law, have to wait at least 5 days to allow a resident to come back and pick up their cat.
Mhm. And that is, so the shelter itself, it's to make it clear, so there are different programs. There's the TNVR program where it is trap, neuter, vaccinate, return, where the shelter isn't even involved in that situation. So what the shelter has recently, or the shelter board has recently turned down, was options for SNVR, which was shelter, neuter, vaccinate, return. And that was one of the major issues, because with that program, we were asked to automatically assume any cat that came into the shelter that did not have a collar or a microchip as a community cat, and immediately fix and return them. And that was our big issue, was many of these cats are probably owned. And so that is why, one of the reasons why the shelter did not want to do that, because we didn't feel that was right, fixing all the cats, because that was deemed on not only feral cats, but friendly cats coming into the shelter. So yeah, that is a concern to consider. And another thing about those 2 cats that were brought in, because I know, at least I had watched the video from the city council last time, and it was brought up about the ordinances about leash laws with cats. And that is, I know sometimes it seems silly because cats don't recognize property lines and things like that. And if they get out, they're going to wander. Most cities and the county do have that, so that owners are liable for issues where pets might cause damage. And one of these cats that was brought in, because I had looked over the paperwork for that cat today, there was a specific note from the person who trapped and brought the cat saying that the cat had been coming into their home many times and was causing damage within their home, no matter how many times they put it back outside. So there was a note that the trapper wanted to make aware to the owner because it was causing damage in their home. So that is a reason why cats are brought in as well, is sometimes they're being a nuisance and causing property damage.
So what you're saying is they're bringing them in to have them maybe spayed, neutered, and then adopted out, not necessarily, they don't want them back because they were a nuisance. They don't want them returned to their location.
Yeah, not always are people welcome to have those cats come back because they could be causing problems and property damage. So that is one reason they might be trapping cats and bringing them into the shelter. Some other things, they might be spraying. We get that told to us, like destroying like yard furniture, outdoor furniture they might have. Sometimes fighting with their own pets. And so those are some considerations. They don't want the cats living on their property because they are causing issues. And sometimes deterrents don't always work for all the cats, might not work effectively in different environments. And sometimes citizens can't afford them or they just don't have the patience to deal with getting deterrents to try and keep those cats off of their property. Under the understanding TNVR, so TNVR can be a valuable tool for managing cat populations humanely if trapped at an 80 to 90% rate of population. So research and studies have shown that in order to make a difference in the populations and keep the population controlled, they do need to be hitting that 80 to 90% fixed rate among the populations of cats.
Is that just in our city or is that within a surrounding area or the whole county? What is that 80 to 90%?
That's like, in order to properly manage like a certain area, so wherever the cats are roaming, where they're conglomerating to. So it could be different areas within your city. So, however, these programs should not remove residents' ability to bring unwanted cats to the shelter. Limiting this option could lead to an increase in unmanaged cats and community frustration. So we think it's a great solution where cats are located in an area that is safe for them and where property owners are not having any issues with them. And the shelter, oh, sorry.
Well, not too long ago, I heard a story about something that happened in Santaquin, but I'm not really sure what it was. Can you, because that statement that you have in there, unmanaged cats. So I don't remember what it was, but maybe you know something about it.
Yeah, so as you know, we serve south of Utah County. So Santaquin is one of the cities that we serve as part of our special service district. And for quite some time, Santaquin did not opt into the shelter taking cats. So they were not paying for cats to come into our shelter. So if somebody found a cat in Santaquin, we couldn't take it. And I believe at some point in time, they did have some sort of TNVR program going on there, but it wasn't well managed. And they were not hitting anywhere near the 80, 90% rates. And since that time, the cat population has kind of gone a little crazy and they have a cat problem in Santaquin. And we also found issues of, because people knew that cats from Santaquin couldn't be brought to the shelter, people would dump their cats in Santaquin, dump unwanted cats there, which added to the issue, especially if they weren't already fixed. And then it also created a problem, especially for the cities around Santaquin, because people who found cats would then lie to bring them into the shelter and say they found them in one of the other cities, which then affects their budgets coming into the shelter.
Because our budgets are based on the number that come in, right?
Yeah,
Our percentage.
yeah,
that we
your
pay to you.
percentage of the animals.
So if somebody's dumping off a bunch of cats in your city, you would then, and people were taking them in, our allotment of our budget would increase.
So you're saying we could save money by going to Santaquin?
But that's also the issue, because then you might get cats being dumped here that people
No,
don't
we
want.
won't do that.
Yeah, so since that time, Santaquin has changed things and we do take cats from Santaquin now. because they started to have quite an issue with cats in their area, so. One thing, so the shelter did used to have the ability to offer residents that brought in trapped cats the option of we can try and get an appointment to get them fixed, and then they could come pick up the cat and take it back if they were willing to have the cat back on their property. And we explained to them that it would be fixed, vaccinated, ear-tipped. So unfortunately, since July, that option was taken away from us. We're no longer have that ability to offer that. But we did find,
Who took it away?
it used to be Best Friends would allow us to do that, but since July, they do not offer any help with spay neuter services for the shelter.
Yeah, they help a lot. I'm involved with that, but, okay, go ahead.
Yeah, they've
They
kind
don't
of
help the
redirected.
shelter.
They don't help us anymore. They've kind of redirected, so.
Mhm.
We used to be able to, like, when someone brought in a trapped cat, we'd be able to say, is this a cat you'd be okay with coming back if it was fixed and vaccinated? And if the person said yes, we'd be able to arrange an appointment.
I believe I could get a yes on that as of today. I'm pretty sure that's a weird one that if you said it changed. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll leave my questions to the end.
No problem. So let's see, where were we? Oh, and at that time, so we were giving out for a span of time when people brought in trapped cats, we did give them like a little questionnaire to see if they were interested in that kind of a thing.
Having the cats being brought back.
So we had a little thing that kind of explained what it was and just kind of asked them, would you be interested in this? Would you be willing for the cat to come back? Are you aware of a lot of cats in your area? Kind of a thing. Just to see out of the people that were trapping and bringing the cats into the shelter, what their response would be. From my memory, we had, because this was a little while ago, we had maybe 2 that were willing to take the cat back. And so we did arrange for that. But the majority of the people who trapped them and brought them into the shelter were very much on the other side, that the cat was causing issues. And either they said no, or they got very frustrated with us when we handed them the questionnaire and were very blunt of, no, don't you dare bring the cat back, type of a response to our employees. So obviously, in most of those, it seemed like the cat was causing issues and they were not willing to safely have that cat return to their area. So we do think that having the option to bring a nuisance cat to the shelter, as it has been a service available to Woodland Hills citizens, we believe it should continue to be an option when the property owner is not in favor of the cat returning to the property. And this would apply to cats that are already ear-tipped. The shelter does have experience with ear-tipped cats being brought to the shelter that are a nuisance and causing issues. And even we had a certain case in another city where there was an issue with bacterial diseases being spread. There was a colony near a pet grooming place, and they were starting to have issues with pets coming there, and in the yards around it where the feral cats were, they were having issues with bacterial infection. So we do believe that taking the option away from citizens to allow them to bring pets to the shelter would result in less humane outcomes for cats in many situations where residents would take it into their own hands in terms of relocating or killing the cat.
So are you saying that, it seems to me, so there's you're saying there's like 2 options, this TNVR, you trap them, you bring them in, and you release them back. So if it's in front of my house, they would release it in front of my house. Or I could trap it and take it to the shelter. It still gets the spay neuter vaccination, but then it has the option of getting adopted by somebody else. It doesn't have to come back to me.
Yeah, if they're a friendly cat.
So they're still going through the same process, but the ending is different. One's brought back to your house and one's maybe adopted out.
Yeah, so yeah, if they're friendly cats,
It's a big maybe,
they're
right?
fairly easily adopted. If they're not friendly, if they're feral, it's few and far between that we're able to find like barn cat homes for them.
Well, it looks like we had over 50% of ours that were adopted out on both years.
Yeah. Yeah, so meaning most of those cats were friendly, and yeah, they were able to be fixed, vaccinated, and adopted out. Yeah. So in summary, the shelter does support balanced approaches, combining TNVR with citizen choice. So we believe that Woodland Hills residents do depend on the shelter as a humane solution for nuisance and stray cats. So we don't think that restricting shelter intake would be a good decision, leading to more stray and nuisance problems, but I think it would be a good balance to allow TNVR to happen, but also still allow residents to be able to bring animals into the shelter.
So basically give it, by not creating a new ordinance, restricting or constraining the public, you allow them to be able to say, I want to take it to the best friends or your.
Yeah, that's that's the
Or-
organization that's offering help, yeah.
Or to you, right? By not restricting, they have options.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So it was kind of represented last time that the shelter was against TNVR, which we're not in responsible situations where the cat is safe and they're going back to an atmosphere where they're not causing issues. So, and like I was talking about before, what the shelter didn't support was kind of a blanket approach to SNVR, where all adult healthy cats brought into the shelter without a microchip or collar are assumed to be community cats and automatically returned. So that is what we were not for. So, let's see. Because we have seen that adopted by other shelters, and we've also seen responses from the community because they tend to pull back and no longer take cats and no longer offer the services that animal control and animal shelters were created for in the first place to help the public with.
So if a cat is returned, when you say returned, when they're trapped and returned, when they're returned to the space that they were trapped, like from, if it was at my house and I trapped a cat and they bring it back to my house, but I don't want to be responsible for the cat, like feeding it, nurturing it and all of that. Who's responsible for feeding it once it's brought back?
And that's kind of a question. I think sometimes volunteers help with that, and that's where sometimes they kind of create colonies where they feed pets, which could be considered an issue, especially where you're on the wildland interface, of course, of attracting things like raccoons, skunks, and even predators to those certain areas where feeding is happening, if it's not done on small scale versus large scale where they create large communities. But technically, like if you adopt the Community Cat Act, there's no person who is responsible for that cat. So
The city would be responsible, kind of technically, I guess. That could be
Life,
really
Just like they
problem.
are now.
and just,
I
they
don't, it's not gonna be the city.
find rats, they find mice, they find.
I meant if it did damage.
Well,
'cause it was-
then
because
I
the
think it
ci-
gets trapped again and sent back.
Because the city,
I don't know.
the city said it could be returned to your property and you said it was a nuisance and it continues to be a nuisance and we've adopted the act. Wouldn't that someone come back and say, I could have left this at the shelter and this cat could have been adopted, not brought back to my property? I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud here, because I wouldn't want that to happen at my house and then be responsible to feed and care for it and give it shelter inside because outside is dangerous.
I don't know that it's that dangerous. I have 2 garage cats.
I've had feral cats before and.
Mine aren't feral, they're just tomcats. but
Right,
They're 15 and 16. They're doing just fine.
Perfect.
All right. Okay, so we just wanted to make it clear. So our shelter operations obviously don't affect whether or not cities allow TNVR, because I mean, obviously some people in your cities are already doing it. However, we believe it's wise to take in consideration ear-tip cats still do get brought into the shelter. The cities that are part of the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter Special Service District do determine what species of animals they pay for and we take into the shelter, but we don't distinguish between like whether we'll take fixed animals versus not fixed animals. So when we take cats, we take all cats from those cities, so. And like I said before, we're not opposed to TNVR, but we do ask for that citizens retain the choice to trap unwanted and nuisance cats to bring to the shelter. We are committed to collaborating on education and community-based strategies that serve both residents and animals effectively, so.
So ear tipped, you've said it ear tipped a couple times.
That's it.
Yes.
That's a TNVR cat.
So yeah, that's part of the TNVR
They just
process.
clip
Well, not just TNVR, because if you get,
They cut the left ear.
sometimes even if you just get them spayed or neutered, they'll tip it just to show that it's been fixed. But it not
Yeah, that's
necessarily
true.
is a return cat. It's not necessarily a.
Usually they
trap.
tattoo them.
If they're responsible, they chip them.
Yeah.
Can I ask a few questions? First of all, I love your organization. I have adopted dogs and cats from you down there for years, and I've just lost a couple of really close animals that we had. Sorry. What I'm trying to figure out is, why is Utah County different than most all the other counties in Utah that have no kill, and they handle these problems that you've listed in some different way that works? And why is Utah County, I'm talking Salt Lake County, Wasatch County, all of southern Utah? I mean, it's nuts that we are so different as far as no kill or whatever the grading is that counties have. Can you answer that? Why does Utah County act differently than these other counties?
So it's kind of in reference to what I was talking about before, the SNVR, the shelter, neuter, vaccinate, return. It's a lot of the shelters have adopted that, where they are returning all cats, friendly or feral.
You said
whether or
most
not-
counties have adopted that.
The counties that, like Salt Lake County, the one you talked about, I believe they do it. There's a few others, a
And so
lot of the
there's not a
counties.
problem with them. I mean, there's not a problem in their county that you've illustrated, I don't think.
It depends who you talk to, because we do hear complaints down the chain of, I took this cat, it's been causing issues, they brought it back. Or this cat just showed up, it's not common to our neighborhood, we've never seen it before, it's a lost pet. And then all of a sudden it's back 2 days later, and then they're trying to reach out to rescue groups to find the cat a home. Because it appears to have been a lost cat, not a community cat, not local to their area.
But would you believe, and I'm asking both of you, would you believe that since all of these other counties have a completely operating no-kill program, that's better than these few little problems that you will run into trying to keep all the animals alive, if you will? And I know, I agree, there'll be some issues with certain ones because they're different, of course. I don't understand, again, I don't understand our county versus every other county in Utah, nearly. It's a mystery to me.
One thing we also see, so when shelters adopt this spay, neuter, vaccinate, return program,
Yeah.
their numbers look great, but their citizens learn that the cat is going to come back. So like I referenced the questionnaires that we did with people that brought in trapped cats, many of those people referenced, if you start this, I will get rid of the cat. So we think in many instances, the citizens will just resort to that instead of using the shelter
They would
for
euthanize them
the humane
themselves,
way.
is what you're saying?
Either relocating it to a place the cat doesn't know, won't know how to find food and
Just dumping
water,
on the side of the road somewhere.
or they might kill the
Exactly.
cat themselves. So that is where
Okay.
we're trying to look at most humane options.
I'll ask a more direct question. Will Utah County ever be classified as no-kill like most of the other counties in Utah?
So let me step in there for 2 seconds.
Please.
How they are becoming that
Uh-huh.
is, I feel, I mean, they'll tell you, you're teaching the cat to stay off the property, they're not a nuisance anymore. And the shelters are kind of just either not taking them, putting them back. It's all about the numbers of the shelters. So yeah, those cats or those animals in these other counties are not going to the shelter because the shelter's kind of going, we're not dealing with it. This is how we're dealing with it. And then our numbers look great. Utah County is, well, I feel our shelters and our services are serving the public the way they should. I mean, it's an emotional issue. It's, you know, and I understand that animals and people. are
Just for
emotional.
me in this city. Keep
No,
going.
but it-
No, I don't think it's just you.
Okay.
But what they're doing, it's, you call it a blanket effect, it's not manipulating because you're just not taking them. So if we just go, yeah, we're not gonna deal with them, or just, you know, go put them back, our numbers look great, we're no kill. But what did it solve?
You're saying the killing is still happening potentially, they're just not
Counted.
quantifying it.
Yeah, because all they're looking at and getting that is from our stats, from our numbers, and to
Yeah.
change that and to say, hey, we're no kill. We can do it, we can
So-
go, we're not taking anything.
It just means they're being euthanized somewhere else, most likely.
Possibly, or getting hit by cars, you know, I mean,
Dumped
The
on the side of the
inevitable-
road.
outside. And it's unfortunate, we don't want that. You know, we want what's humane for them, you know, they,
Well, I attended Provo City Council when they passed it. They actually wanted our county to become no-kill, and they passed it. You know, you followed all of this when Provo was offered $1 million and blah, blah, blah. I went to all those meetings, and it actually passed. And so there's just a few, and I think they're your leaders, and I respect them, and they have that opinion that they wouldn't take the program that was offered, even though the surveys proved most citizens, if you took a survey even of our citizens, you would see most want what other counties are doing, no kill. They want a program that would save the lives of more animals.
well, and we agree with that. We are doing this job because we don't
Okay.
wanna kill animals.
Okay.
That's not our goal at all.
Right.
We're in there because we love animals, right? I mean,
Yeah.
all of our staff.
Yeah.
Very passionate about it. But there's a bigger picture, I feel, of that you do have to.
But the other
look
counties
at.
have figured out that picture, is my point.
But I feel, and I've talked to some of them and I've seen comments from citizens in these counties, such as
Mhm.
Davis County,
Yeah,
where they, like she mentioned, they go in, they go, hey, this cat, and they go, sorry, it's against our policy to take it. So now what do I do with it, you know? And they have to make a choice, and not everybody loves cats.
right. Yeah.
So what are they gonna do with it at that point? And for that shelter and other places, looks great, they didn't take it, it's not a number on their books. So they can claim no kill. Now, and I'm not a huge fan of that title, because I think, I feel it's misleading. It's not no kill. It's not, they
Sure.
still, there's
I know,
euthanizing
I
going.
know. Yeah,
It's a margin, so you can claim that,
Yeah.
but I prefer low kill.
okay, yeah.
Because that's
what we all
more of a
want.
truth, right?
We don't want
It-
it.
Do they
because we-
count the animals that are sick and already like hit by a car or gonna die anyways? They count that against you as a kill, right? When that cat was not
And those are the
survivable.
ones we're talking about. We're talking
Right,
about.
but I'm
the
just
ones
talking
that
about
are healthy,
numbers.
That
Well,
are
the
killed
other
in our
thing is
county.
The
when
stats. That's all I'm talking about, stats
the
wise.
kill is it's a harsh word.
Right,
The cats or any animal that comes to the shelter, if that is the outcome, they're humanely euthanized. We're not killing them, you know what I mean?
Well, plus you have you'll have disease outbreaks in the shelter and there's nothing you can, and I mean, when I was on the board, that happened. I remember you had a long period where you kept thinking it was gonna be under control and it
And it,
kind of
Another one
would
would
flare
come
back
out.
up again.
yeah. And
So-
that's just what happens in a,
so as long as I'm alive, I am trying to catch every cat I can in this city that's feral. And it's going very well, and I have resources to get every one of them neutered, spayed,
Daryl, how do you know
vaccinated.
that they're,
teeth pulled, fleas fixed. I mean, these guys are really taking care of the cats I'm catching. And every time I catch one, I post a picture of it so that I know before I even take it in.
Okay.
And it's working. And I have yet to have caught a cat that someone wants me to let go, but I'll let it go if they said.
That's my cat.
Now, I could make a mistake, but I think it's a valuable mistake because we have enough cats, you know. We don't need to add to any cats in our city, tame or not, but,
Did you see many at your house?
where was I
Did you see
going with
many at
this?
your house? I'm
There's a few of them.
I just want you to know that we are doing it in our city and it's going very successfully. And I have seen personally, and I wouldn't have believed it, that ugly, matted, freaking little sick-looking cats, when they're taken care of and whatever they're doing to them down there are best friends, I don't know, but I'm bringing them back, letting them go, and they're beautiful now. I mean, they are really healthy. And they don't spray furniture. When you spay and neuter these animals, they do act differently. They don't fight. I mean, some would, but they don't as much. So, and they don't overpopulate.
So Dora, where are you putting them back? Are you taking care
Right
of
where
them?
I catch them.
So are you feeding them or who's feeding them?
No,
They feed themselves.
they're out loose. There's so many down in our neighborhood and it's because they were populating. We saw kittens and galore. And I said, let's try and do something because what we're doing ain't working. And, I'm not catching them all in this city, but I'd like to, and we'll have since you can't,
So,
But it's working. And I personally have seen a couple of cats that stay around my house that are just fine. They don't do anything I hate. And they're healthier and they don't fight. They're just nicer all around animals, when you get rid of the things that are making them sick. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that they do that's not just spaying and neutering. They pulled a tooth on one of them. I thought that was pretty cool, And what I would love is to get that kind of a program tied to our shelter because it's working in our city. And I just feel like if we could make it bigger, and that's all Best Friends wants to do, to be honest with you, is try to make the problem better because it's not better with the old ways. And you've seen that. I think that there is something we could do better.
Well, and that's what we wish we had a vet on staff that we would be able to offer if people brought in a trap cat and were
Yeah.
willing to bring it back, that would be like, great, we'll get that done. Pick up the cat and take it back. We
Yeah.
would love to be able to offer that again, that we don't have near enough the money or medical budget to do that. We barely have a medical budget to try and
I
get
don't know.
some of the animals we put up for adoption.
And I don't know what other counties do, but they've answered that problem and all of your other problems in some fashion. Salt Lake County's huge.
Yeah, they have a much
So is
larger budget than
Wasatch.
us. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but other counties like us that don't have any money, they're doing it. I don't know. I just.
They
think-
don't do it through the county.
need to do
Most,
something
it seems
better.
like most counties in Utah, it's volunteers.
it's not the
doing a
county.
lot of
paying
it.
for
Okay.
Your larger counties seem to have some of, like Salt Lake County, Davis County, they are
Wasatch.
doing it through shelters, but not all of them are.
Right. I'm only concerned about the shelter situation because that's our situation,
Yeah, and that's where what Best Friends was trying to get the shelter to do was a bit different. It wasn't just for feral cats. It was all those friendly adult cats that have very high potential of being owned by someone. And that was the issue that we had, where why should we not be offering those cats for adoption if an owner doesn't come for them, where they could go into a loving home, that it's much more safe than being an outdoor cat the rest of their lives. So.
Well, I appreciate you being here tonight.
Well, after our last discussion, and Dora, you brought up Provo City, so I made an appointment and went over and talked with them. And also with the sheriff deputy who is over that, who sits on the board, the county board, and asked them, why is the sheriff's department against the TVNR, and why Provo changed their mind? And part of it was their law enforcement. It seems to be a really big problem with law enforcement being over animal.
Well, it's
Stuff
not their
when-
job. I don't think it's
when,
their job
um,
either.
Well, it is in
Well,
terms
we
of
need-
how they
we
have
need
it
to-
structured,
We
right?
need to hire an animal
How they
control.
structure it. And so it was Provo City's police chief that said, we can't do this and do the rest of our business. And I think the same is with the sheriff's office. When we pay for services, we like to catch the person who's doing something wrong in our city rather than the cat that
Right.
might be, right? So I think it's about budgeting and it's also about priorities with regards to law enforcement.
Do me a
I
favor,
like the
talk to
option.
Wasatch, talk to Salt Lake.
Yeah.
We're not alone in this.
Oh, yeah,
That's
I
what's
talked-
bugging the heck out of me.
I talked to
Act
a
like
lot of
it's-
cities
it's
about
not an
it to see.
insurmountable problem.
Well, I've talked to a lot of cities about it and they have more gone with the choice of, do they want to, do citizens want to take their pet to, or this feral cat or any cat that they find to a shelter? Or do they want to take it to a rescue place or the TVNR, Best Friends, whatever? There's several. Other counties have more than just Best Friends. They have lots of these kind of places. So it gives the citizens the opportunity to choose between the two, between which area they want to go, have it go to. And so I like that, you're a great example of this, Doral, that it allows us that choice to take them to the place to get the TVNR done, but it's not necessarily a city policy. You do that as a volunteer. And someone else who might not have the ability to take them that far might prefer to say, oh, this is right in Spanish Fork, and they might be adopted. And the Best Friends doesn't do an adoption part, and the shelter does. And so I like people
Kidding?
having choices.
They adopt more animals than you can imagine,
Well, I think I really appreciate
but that's something.
this. Thank you so much. I think we could talk about this all night long.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
And I think there's a lot more discussion to have here. And I think we should probably do some more research and digging and, because we don't have an ordinance on the schedule tonight, but thank you so much. We appreciate you
Thanks.
guys.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, let's move on to number 4. This is an update on the Community Development Committee. Kirsten, please come join us.
Hello. So like you said, I am Kirsten Thompson. I've been serving as the Community Development Committee Chair. I just wanted to get some clarification. We're kind of getting close to having a draft ready to move out of our committee for the general plan that we've been working on for a year and a half, I believe it's been about. In our last meeting, I think it was October 21st, I believe, around minute 34, it was stated, there's nothing that says you have to vote on these amendments. This was said into our committee. You are functioning as an arm of the Planning Commission, and what you are doing, it's up to the Planning Commission to accept that or not. So my question is, in regard to that statement, is the Community Development Committee an arm of the Planning Commission, or are we a standalone committee? When you guys voted to make this committee, what is the structure of it?
It was a standalone committee. I wrote the thing and it was standalone committee to act under the purview of the council in assisting the planning commission in the first initial steps of what the grant entailed. And of course, I wrote the grant, so that was part of the deal, was to say, okay, we're gonna have this committee. And then after you do your work, the planning commission would do their work.
Others?
That's how I understood it.
I understood it was tied to the planning commission. To me, it was obvious that they are the ones that plan for our community in a lot of ways, and I thought, but that's just my opinion.
That was what I was understanding as well. That it was an assist to the planning commission.
There?
Yeah, hey, sorry I'm late. Nice to see everybody. As far as the strategic plan is concerned, I don't know that there is a formal position that we have, but as far as the general plan portion of it, I certainly think that falls within the rights and duties of the planning commission. So it might be something that should be further clarified, at least as far as the strategic plan part of it. But the general plan, I do believe that, I mean, that's certainly the planning commission's call and well, to the extent
question.
that that's what it provides to the city council for approval.
My question isn't, that's the process, correct? The Community Development Committee is creating a draft that will move out of that committee, that will then go to the Planning Commission. They'll have the public hearing. They can change that draft however they see fit. Then they will take that to the council. I see that as the process.
I do too.
So let me ask another question. Are the members of the Community Development Committee voting on the version of the draft as it is in its committee now, based on their own judgment, to provide a draft to the Planning Commission? Or are we expected to take the substantive changes from our Planning Commission chair now, before this has been officially moved out of the Community Development Committee and moved on to the Planning Commission? Am I allowing the members of this committee to vote according to their own judgment? And then moving it forward? Or do we need to take the changes from the Planning Commission now before they review it?
I think the planning commission does their own job in
Yeah.
reviewing it, and your committee votes standalone based on what all of the work they've done for the last year and a half. And then I was looking to see if I had the community, what the community development means.
I'm not arguing whether or not the Planning Commission is technically over this. I agree with
Out of
you.
respect
They're
for
over
you.
it and then they're gonna move it forward to the city council. That is absolutely what I agree with.
But out of respect for you, your group should have a vote on what you want to send on to the city through the planning commission. I
Correct.
firmly believe that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I see that there's two categories of comments,
Right.
right? So if it's a factual error, right? This was back to, because I was in for a brief second in your meeting, till I had to run to my next meeting. If it's a factual error, obviously, let's
Right.
make that fixed, right?
100%.
And take that feedback, fix it, then vote on it,
Yeah,
great.
which I hope throughout this process, Sunrise has done a great job, I feel, of going around to all of the different committees and the people in the city and gathering all of that information and making those
Of
input
course.
and changes.
And then if it's a suggestion or a difference of opinion type of thing, right? Then I think those are the types of things you guys should be voting on as a committee. And then pass that document off to the planning commission. And then ideally, from my thoughts, is they would rent line yours and then send it to us, so we can see all three groups' opinions and thoughts, and then we can come to our conclusion.
Anybody else?
Yeah,
Kirsten, can I ask a question though of you? So where is the disconnect happening, do you feel? Because I mean, I can see, I mean, I understand where you're coming from, that, I mean, if the planning commission is going to be breathing down your necks as far as how this rolls out, what is your purpose? But on the other side of it, I also think that there is greater efficiency in it being a collaborative effort, in the sense that, you know, it would be a shame for you and your committee to go through this exercise only to have it gutted by the planning commission before what is finally presented to the council. And so I think it's worthwhile to try to make sure that we understand what the problem is, to the extent there is a problem. But I am certainly getting the sense that there are some concerns that are being raised. And so is it that you feel that it's maybe a little too heavy-handed in terms of planning commission oversight at this stage? Or is it something that maybe you feel your input is not being sufficiently valued? I think that if we can identify the problem, that would be a huge step forward.
I just want to make sure that we're doing this in the due process. And if that means that you guys just want anybody's input and that I'm just making changes because somebody gave input, then that's what I'm seeking clarification on. But the due process, I believe, is that as the Community Development Committee members, vote and engage on it's the goals that are primarily the issue, if that's what you want to talk about, the clarification. What you're talking about, grammar or adding a word here or there, or, you know, some corrections that need to be made, absolutely, right? We're taking that input from everybody, residents, city, right? We're making all those changes. But when it comes to the goals that are building up some of the elements of the committee, if there are disagreements from what maybe the planning commission is suggesting we change, and the community development committee members maybe feel otherwise and disagree, I don't feel comfortable telling members of the committee, well, the planning commission's not going to approve it anyway, so you should probably just vote to take it out. That's where I don't feel that's correct. I'm being told, because you're saying it's more efficient if we just take it out now, because the planning commission, they're not going to approve it anyway. I don't think that feels transparent. That doesn't feel like the correct due process.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I wasn't trying to steer you in that direction. I was just saying that there is value in maximizing efficiency. But I mean, to the extent that you aren't seeing eye to eye on the vision, as far as like, I mean, I don't know if I will even be in office when this finally comes before the council, but as far as I'm concerned, to the extent it does come before the council, or it does get put on the agenda during my administration, I would be happy to hear certainly both sides of it, because it's the council's decision ultimately. But I think that, you know, if there is a divergence as far as how your committee and the planning commission see it, that's worth hearing. But I do think that, you know, the planning commission by law is certainly entitled to a greater amount of deference when it comes to adopting at least the general plan side of it.
Disagree with you.
I found the document that we adopted on August 22nd of 2023, Operations Policy and Procedure for the Community Development Committee. The purpose states the Community Development Committee shall work with the City Council of the City of Woodland Hills to implement strategies for growth, including housing, transportation, recreational opportunities, and critical infrastructure, while preserving the integrity and quality of life of our community. The Community Development Committee shall have a chair and a secretary elected by the committee members at large and approved by the City Council. The City Council members shall be designated as a liaison between the City Council and the committee. And this committee shall be comprised of 5 members of the community and the council. And then there's about 8 different responsibilities. And all of their responsibilities link back to the City Council with regards to implementing this grant. And then the last one says they shall share all information gathered with the Woodland Hills Planning Commission for consideration as they update the Woodland Hills General Plan. This will include recommendations for potential ordinance updates. So I think you're correct on the process. This committee was formed under the council and being responsible to the council, but that last responsibility is that then you will turn it over, then the planning commission will do their job before it is then brought to the council for final consideration, because even the planning commission doesn't approve it for the official adoption. That's the council's responsibility. So it's a 3-phase, and that was adopted by the council, like I said, August 22nd of 2023.
Right, yeah, that's my understanding. Utah Code, Planning Commission are the ones that do the public hearing. They take it to the City Council. The City Council is a legislative body. I understand all that. It seems like everybody else here agrees with that. So what I'm taking away is often in cities, you'll have what's called a steering committee. We call ours the Community Development Committee. And that committee oftentimes can draft a general plan, which will then leave that committee and move to the Planning Commission, who will then do the public hearing and present it to the City Council. As long as we're all in agreement that that's the way the process should go, I think that's the way we've been planning on doing it. But we just had a few questions, as it's been brought up a few times. And we just want to make sure that we're doing what you guys are expecting, because ultimately you guys are the one that are deciding on this. So, but as by way of timeline, like I mentioned, coming up, I believe it's November 17th, we'll be holding another Community Development Committee meeting. It is likely, but still, revisions to be made, but it is likely that a final draft will come out of the Community Development Committee at that point, and then be submitted to the Planning Commission as a whole, who will then, as we've outlined, go through the rest of the process. At that point, a strategic plan that's been mentioned and talked about in this entire thing, it's the strategic plan are the short-term goals, and you identify what those goals are and who's responsible for fulfilling them in relation to the long-term goals that have been outlined in the general plan. So Sunrise will work with all of you to understand what your priorities are, put together like an implementation matrix, something like that, that will then influence how we achieve the goals of the general plan. In my business experience, a goal without a plan is just a dream. So if you don't have a strategic plan to help fulfill those long-term goals, these all kind of work together. So that will be what will happen next. And probably I've been told, hopefully a 4 to 6 month timeline. We don't expect this to be, push this general plan through quickly. We want it to be looked at and redlined and fastidious and have comments and, okay, so don't feel like there's any rush as we're reviewing, whether it's the Planning Commission or the council. This needs to be done well and with input and insight from everybody. And I know you guys will do that, but anyway, those are thoughts. Any other questions for me?
Thank you. Thanks for the update.
Okay.
Kirsten, can I just ask, and then Wayne, you're there, right? I can't actually see, it's a tiny window that shows the audience members, but so Kirsten, you feel you've got the direction you want, and then Wayne, are you seeing the Planning Commission and the Community Development Committee as being miles apart in any particular way? I mean, is there something that can be done to at least potentially address? I mean, maybe I'm imagining that there has been conflict, but it seems like that this is coming up because maybe there are some differences of opinion as to how we get to the final product. And so I just think that to the extent, Kirsten, I want to make sure that you feel like you've got a clear direction on where you're expected to go. But Wayne, I do think that your input is important to hear, just as far as you see the direction that it's going in terms of how the Planning Commission sees it.
Yeah.
Let me add just a little bit. I don't think we're that far apart. I think the issues have come up where we've gotten, it's not a final draft, but it's a draft of what the committee's put together. And there's been some changes to that already. I did a cursory examination of it and identified a number of changes that I've asked them to make before it actually comes to the commission. Some of those have been made, and some of those there's a question on whether the committee wants to make them or not. They've indicated that they've voted on some of these things, and that vote should stand as to their recommendation to the Planning Commission. I'm trying to, I guess, maybe expedite things a little bit, make it easier for Planning Commission review, that we get a document that is as correct as we can make it. And some of that is going back to the committee and asking them to make some changes to it for us before it comes to the Planning Commission. And I think there's where the rub is. And one thing I would like to get clarified a little bit more, just my mind, is that as we look at it and review it and what changes made to it, is the committee going to be willing to make those changes to our satisfaction or not? Do they want a separate document going to the council with their with their standards, their requirements, the review and the things that they've done? Or are they willing to make the changes that we would ask them to make? And I don't mind those coming, again, what's been done so far has been done by me, not by the Planning Commission. But I've seen errors in it, and I think many of those errors have been corrected. But there's some points which they would rather leave in because they voted on those things in their committee. So that's the clarification that I would like to get, knowing if they're going to make the changes that the planning commission is going to come back and recommend and request that they make, or are they looking to prepare a separate document with their ideas on it that would come to the city council?
Good questions. I can speak to that. So Sunrise Engineering explained that what will happen, after talking with Daniel and Karen Peterson, is that when the draft moves out of the Community Development Committee, based on a final vote in that committee, it will then go to the Planning Commission. They will take all of the edits and make those edits in the one document. To make multiple documents would be outside of our budget. It costs a lot of money when you get down to the graphics and things and the design of it to do two. So they will then be here with the Planning Commission. So if there's questions on how maybe a version of the draft of, I shouldn't say a version, where maybe an edit on the draft was made, if there's questions on, they can explain, well, this is how the Community Development Committee, and I'll also be there, voted, or this is how the Planning Commission voted, this is where maybe people didn't see eye to eye, and make all of those recommendations and give some of that context of how the version you receive arrived to you. And that could also include how some of the city employees felt, or how some of the residents felt, or, you know, it can be input. They've taken all of this input and put it into this document. And so they will help us to navigate the version that you guys receive. Does that feel, I don't plan on sending forward another version. That's the Community Development Committee version. It'll have your revisions, and then they can explain what you guys have changed or what our committee had voted on.
As long as it has our revisions, that's my
Absolutely.
concern.
Absolutely.
Okay, so.
And I think that that's good. I actually think that sounds like a good approach, because then I think that to the extent you don't see eye to eye on certain elements, the council gets to hear both sides of that. So I think that seems like a sound way to go forward.
Great.
So we all sit on committees as liaisons. We're not voting members of those committees. We shouldn't have veto rights. That happens in this chamber.
Yeah.
And I make recommendations when I'm in the planning commission. I say, hey, this is some thoughts that I have. I don't expect, some of those things get integrated, some of those things don't. And if it's substantive, it's however you say that word.
Substantive.
Whatever. I would like to know the differences when it comes to us, those changes that were made from the committee to the commission.
Like I said, it's primarily the goals. Some of the other
So,
wording in the plan maybe explains and gives context.
yeah, little things, I'm not, wouldn't be worried about, especially things that everybody says, okay, yeah, that makes sense, right? But when there's something that's majorly different from what the committee had put in, and it was either changed or removed to where the committee's not comfortable with that, I would like to know about it when it comes to council. Because it's not.
It's not unanimous.
Carrie's your liaison, and she has a lot to say in your meetings, and there's nothing wrong with that. But she shouldn't say, nope, you don't get to do that because I'm on the council and I'm gonna vote against it. Well, there's 5 of us here, so she's not the only one. Ted.
Oh, sorry, can I just interject here real quick? Just a really quick comment. Having done dozens of these plans throughout my career, everyone's similar to it.
The mic picks him up.
I just might throw out a reminder, and I want to hurt any feelings. This is not a planning commission plan. It's not a community development plan. It's not a city council plan. It's a community plan. Right? These general plans are to be put together by what the community wants. And Daniel and his group goes through an extensive effort to poll the community and find out what the community really likes. So I think it's going to be important when this comes to the council that they hear all versions of the story.
Absolutely.
And that's where I'm trying to go. I mean, the planning commission is going to have their sides of the story, the community development, right? There's going to be some disagreement. There always is, because different people have different opinions on what they want. But it's really not the planning commission's plan, and it's not the community development. It's the community plan. So I think the city council needs to hear all sides of the
That's what we
story.
need to
I
hear.
agree.
That's
Exactly.
exactly.
100%.
You gotta consider what the community wants, not what these two groups want.
Yep,
So-
100%.
That
I think
makes
it's gonna be
sense.
important, even though the revisions are made to meet the planning commission's expectations. I think it's important to hear both sides of the story so you can make a decision based on what you think is best for the community. Because it's really the community's plan.
It would be ideal for me if both sides came when the plan was given to us.
Absolutely.
I'd like to hear both.
It's gonna be a long meeting, I think.
It's a 70+ page document, so it's sure gonna be a long meeting.
Well, I wanna-
I
I'm
hope we're all
mostly
reviewing it
into-
ahead of time.
I'm mostly interested in the differences, because you each have your reasons.
Well, and we'll have the option to look it over for quite a long time
Good.
before we
Okay.
vote. It's not like they present and then we vote. It's,
Right.
they
No, we
present, we read
You're
through
right,
it.
we need a
and
lot, I
all
mean,
of
this has taken way too long, to be honest with you, it's really taken way too long. But it needs to be right, and we have a responsibility to do our best to make it right. So, yeah, I think Ted has hit the nail on the head. We want to hear the differences as well.
I feel confident that between Sunrise and the Planning Commission and Community Development, that you'll get all of those answers.
Okay.
And we'll probably screw it up.
No.
Yeah, it was.
Well, they've spent a lot of time on it, and so, like I said, with the year and a half and also some professional planners, there's a lot to it, and as they went to the community, as they've gone to each of the staff members to get their input, I think it's going to be something that's gonna take us a while to get through
Right.
individually, as well as then, so I think they do a presentation, we take that document, we read it, when we come back, they come back again after we've had a chance to read it all, and then make sure to answer those questions that we may have after we read it. So I think twice. We should count on,
That's up to
We
you
might have
guys.
to do it in sections.
yeah,
We'll figure that
absolutely,
process
and
out.
we might have to do it in sections.
We'll talk about
Great,
how
well-
that gets.
You feel good?
Yep,
You're
I'm good, yes.
Wayne, good?
I
Perfect.
adjourn my portion. Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, then we'll move on to number 5.
Thanks for all your work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The GDPA website compliance presentation with Meg and Spencer Foster.
Awesome. And let me just share my screen real quick because I joined on Zoom as well, so I could pop this up. Let's put that down. Okay, and I did turn off my volume, so I wouldn't screw everything up. Just a quick introduction of myself. My name is Spencer. I work for MAG. I've been here for about 1.5 years, working for the LAA program. So the Local Administrative Advisor Program. And what we do is we go in and we help the communities that have a population of less than 10,000 with all sorts of projects. We're funded by the state, so these communities don't pay at all. The state pays for me to come in and help you because of limited staff, limited bandwidth. And so I can help with all sorts of things. And one of the things that they have me do is go around and update these towns on new legislation. And so that's why I'm here tonight, is to talk about this Government Data Privacy Act, GDPA. And so thank you for letting me be here, Mayor and Council. This law was actually passed in 2024. How many of you have heard of it? Okay, so you have at least heard of it. A lot of the towns that I go and present at, they haven't even heard of it yet. And it's almost December. And there's a requirement by the end of the year to do implementation of a privacy program by the end of the year. So the state is going to be pretty understanding for communities around the state to be able to get this going. You know, it's a long-term thing. And so they're going to be patient with us as we work through this and implementation of this new legislative mandate. This law, it's in Utah Code 63A-19, And it applies to all government entities, so school districts, special districts, cities, towns. Everyone has to abide by it. And it just basically talks about how we use personal data, how we treat it, how we collect it, what we do with it, where we store it, how we keep it safe. And so that's really the crux of this law. Beginning implementation is required by December 31st of 2025. I'll talk about what that means for Woodland Hills in the next slide. But over the next year after that, there's some other things that the state's gonna have us do. And I say us because I will be helping you with this. I'll be helping Jody and just checking in and making sure everything's okay. Luckily, you guys are already on top of things and you already have at least a website policy that you guys are talking about tonight. So, and Jody sent me the draft of that and asked me to go through and give my recommendations to that. And so you guys are ahead of the curve a little bit, so. Okay, so what does compliance mean for this law by the end of this year? Simply, the only thing in the act that it says you have to do is complete a privacy program report. So that's basically like a status update for your city on where your privacy program is. It'll ask you questions about where do you collect data? It's basically telling you to do a data inventory. Who are your vendors? Do you collect personal data from utility billing? Or on your website, do you ask for data to do certain things like email, a blast email to all these citizens in Woodland Hills? Like what kind of things do you collect, kind of thing? And so that privacy program report will need to be filled out by the end of the year. And it is a non-grammable report that, for at least for this first year, nobody can request it from you except for the Office of Data Privacy. And so that's to give you a little bit of, just let you relax a little bit as you learn about this law and start doing this report that's going to be required every year. And get that filed away in your files. And like I said, the only person who can request that, only agency that can request that is the Office of Data Privacy. But there are more requirements that will come in the future. This is a full list of the requirements that I was able to find throughout the GDPR law. This is ongoing. So some of these that I want you to focus on are just the first half of them. So implementation, like I said, that is, that's compliant if you fill out this report by the end of the, by December 31st of 2025. You will have to do a privacy policy. So like I said, Jody has already started drafting at least the website version of this. You will have to do it for all the data you collect. So having that complete, that's a good chunk of what you need to be doing. But you're collecting data in other ways, so you will need to make sure that you have a privacy policy for everything. And then appointing leadership for your privacy policy. Who's going to be in charge of making sure all of this is taken care of, and who's going to make sure that any records requests are taken care of as well. So I'll talk about that more in the next slide, but really I want you to focus on just the first couple of these for the rest of this year. And then
already adopted the privacy policy, we're just having to adopt the website one, correct?
If you already have a privacy policy, then you're ahead of the game. Yeah.
We did this back almost a year ago, a privacy policy.
Maybe when this first came out then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you guys are really ahead of basically everyone else that I've been helping.
And
So
we have
that's,
Jody.
that's good. So yeah, I'll get into more of what that looks like for you specifically, as you already have a policy. Do you have leadership appointed for your policy?
It looks like it. Looks like it's her, right?
Do you have a CAO and a records officer?
Yep, CAO is the mayor, records officer is the recorder.
That's amazing. So that's what I was gonna recommend you do. So I will point out that when you're having a mayor change, it's good to have not the name of that person as
Title.
the appointed, the CAO, just the title of that position. So that when Mayor Winder is done, the new mayor coming in then becomes that CAO. Yeah.
So it is.
Very generic there, so.
Yeah, perfect. So, and then the records officer, I'm assuming is your city recorder?
We just do it as recorder,
Yep.
so that if that changes ever, that's generic as well, it doesn't have to be changed to any.
Awesome. So, yeah, that's great. And then going forward, since you already have your program foundation, you have already adopted a policy. Going forward for you will be to do yearly maturity self-assessments. Where are you in your privacy policy with certain levels? Are you doing things consistently? Are you improving your policy? When you find out that certain things need to be done, are you making it better?
So this will be very similar to our financial audit.
Yeah.
checklist.
Just doing this once a year to see where you are.
Perfect.
And can we do it ourselves, or is this something that we?
This is,
should
you can do
utilize
yourself.
with
Yeah.
you?
So you can do a maturity self-assessment yourself. Because you basically will be doing this anyway when you're filling out your program, your privacy program report that makes you compliant with the state. So as you go through that report, the mayor and Jody most likely will be filling that out. Or if you have an IT team or contract with IT, they will help with some of that maybe. You'll be doing that maturity self-assessment as you answer those questions. So,
Okay.
but yeah, you're ahead of the curve, you're doing great. This slide just basically goes over like implementing your best practices for your program. Only collecting necessary data. Don't collect more than you need.
Who determines what's necessary?
What do you need for collection of your utility billing? Just looking at where you collect data and seeing the specific pieces of that data. You guys,
We're determining.
yeah,
what data
whoever is doing the collection will be determining what
Okay.
you need.
Thank you.
For example, I helped a city implement this that was collecting a bunch of data for a park survey. And they were asking for email addresses and dates of birth and addresses and all this information for a survey. And we told them, why are you collecting this specific data? What is it helping you do? Does it serve a purpose for this survey specifically? And they were like, no, not really. Don't collect that anymore. Simplify your processes and only collect the data you need. So, and that's up to whoever's collecting your data for you. Notifying your residents when you collect their data, having a notice on your website, like a cookie notice or whatever, that says we collect data for this purpose. If you want to opt out of this, like you don't have to provide your data if you don't want to, kind of thing.
If we don't collect data on our website though, we don't need to put that
Nope.
on, correct?
If you don't collect any data, then you're good to not have anything there. Just wherever you collect personal data from your citizens, notify them however. If it's on paper, through utility billing or something, just have a notice available that you give them when they give you your data.
Spencer, if we were doing a survey and you had a range like, oh, our are you in this range of age or this range of how long you've lived in the city or
That's
something?
great because that's anonymizing.
Okay,
Yeah, so you don't need to really say anything in that case because you're anonymizing the data. You're not collecting their personal specific data for that.
But when we're asking for their email address so that we can send them a city bill, we have to tell them we're asking.
Yeah.
We're collecting that.
Yeah, it's best practice to say, hey, we're collecting this and this is why.
Hey,
And it's
Spencer, can I ask a
easy.
question also? So, like, we contract with third parties, Express Bill Pay, who is actually doing the data gathering. I mean, is it up to them to make those notifications, or is that up to both of us?
So that's up to both of you because they are contracted through your city to do work for you. The liability does come back to you as well.
liability, mayor knows liability law.
Yeah, so, and that's based in this law itself. It talks about the liability and where that goes and being careful with the data you collect as a city because you can be liable for that, even with your contractors. So even your vendors. So just, I would say, make sure that you have your policy, your privacy policy states who you're contracted with and how you're collecting that data. Does that make sense? Perfect. Is that, any other questions about that or clarification?
Well, most of these vendors, because they do work for government agencies or whatnot, are they starting to change their policy to match this policy?
A
so
lot of
that-
them, a lot of them are trying to do this. Yeah, they're actually way far ahead of government. Private sector is a lot further ahead of us. So they know the risks and things like that. So they have policies put in place on their end that we are just getting up to speed with.
So if we're going to be entering a contract with a vendor to do a service for our city and we start talking about
Mhm.
these types of things with them, they should know what we're talking about
Exactly.
and show us their policy.
Yeah, and that's how
make
you
sure
would
that we
vet
know.
them.
Okay.
You would make sure that they have a policy in place for what they would do if like a breach occurs with the data or how they protect the data and how they keep it safe.
Okay.
So that's a good practice for them. Any other questions about these? Okay, and then just going through a data inventory as you go through the privacy program report.
How did
That's
you know
due
we
by
still
the-
have- We still have
You still
cases.
have filing cabinets? Me too. This is just basically going in and seeing what data you collect, where you store it, how you keep it safe. Do you have dual authentication? Just what are your processes for that? And improving these if you need to. If you need to go paperless to be more protective of your data, then is it time to do that? Like talking about that, how can you mature your data collection processes? Any questions about this? Okay, so you're way far ahead of me on this. So really, each year, your staff and whoever touches your data will have to be trained on your privacy policy. That the state has said that this is satisfied if you watch their training video. It's an 8-minute long video. You can do that however you would like, as long as anyone who touches your data watches the video. You can do that at a council meeting, workshop. You can blast it out via email to your staff and council and planning commission. To anyone who touches your data, who is collecting it and seeing it and doing that. They all need to be trained. That is my suggested next step for you, is to just figure out when you're gonna do that training or how you're gonna do it, how you're gonna disseminate it, and how you're gonna track it. Otherwise, you are so far ahead of everyone else. You've assigned your records officer and CAO. You have adopted a privacy program. I'm assuming that you're starting to do your inventories of your data.
If I had some money.
And let's hope you get some.
Maybe that's a public works assignment because they have a little.
Goes your helicopter, chief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh, I almost had it too, guys.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
So yeah, start doing your data inventory when you go through the privacy program report. And just try and do them at the same time if possible. Because you're gonna have to do your privacy program report anyway by the end of the year. And so that's a good time to at least start doing that. But the step 1 and step 3 are really what I have for you. Make sure your staff's trained and then review the privacy program report so you know what questions there are, so you know who to talk to answer the questions. And I can help with that.
Individuals, those are only individuals that would touch our utility billing, our.
Any personal data that you collect.
Okay.
So if they do touch utility billing data, they would need to be trained.
So.
Yeah, so Public Works, yeah, maybe your leadership in Public Works. So that meeting was totally broken. Yeah.
A question, if we have third-party vendors who are having access to some of this information that we've collected, do we report on them in these reporting mechanisms that we do, or?
You would answer some questions about your vendors in this privacy program report.
Okay.
Some of the questions are, who are your vendors? How are you sharing data with them? Where, basically, how do you collect the data and how do they take care of it?
So they become part of the reporting process
Yes.
that we have to.
Yeah, you at least provide information about who you're working with as vendors. As part of the answers to those questions.
Okay.
I don't think they get into the nitty gritty on like, does your vendor have a privacy policy? How do they act? It's just, this is Woodland Hills. Not your vendors, as long as they know who they are. And if there's any questions about any of the privacy program report questions that you need clarification on, I am available. You can ask me anything. I'm here to help. I'm helping 19 other communities do the same thing. So I'm sure that they will bring up questions that they have in regards to the report or creating a privacy policy or anything. You can reach out to me at any time. And then the training video actually is in this presentation too. I've linked it, and so I'll send these slides to Jody and then she can disseminate them however, to whoever needs them. And then you can have that available for you. And I will send a link to the actual video and any other templates that I have created for it. So any other questions about this?
Data stored by our fire department, is that involved in this city stuff too? I assume it would be.
It's all your data.
Okay.
So in your data inventory, that's a good thing to do is to see where all your data is. Is your fire department storing data in boxes in their back room?
It is.
That's a question. That's a question for you.
Oh, that's a danger.
And if it's in the cloud in his head, yeah, then put that in the answer. But yeah, the main purpose of this law is to just see how cities and towns are collecting data and get them to do a better job. Get them to mature gradually. The state knows this is a long-term process. And we've asked them, well, when do you want this to be like more mature? I said, this is like a 5 to 10 year thing. For people to get involved in having their privacy policies and then gradually mature them to where things are more comfortable. Where we're doing things better with our data, where we're storing them better, where we're implementing good practices and not having breaches and having dual authentication, storing things in the cloud rather than in paper. And where necessary and where it makes sense, so. Any other questions about any of this? Okay, here are some resources for you as well, just websites, the code, email addresses, my email address, my phone number. You can text me at any time if you have a question. And I'm happy to help. You don't pay me anything, so you might as well use my time, so. Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you all so much for letting me take a little bit of time tonight.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Spencer. You're welcome. Okay, then we will move on to number 6, the discussion of proposed GDPA compliance policy.
Not proposed, we already have it, right?
Yes. Well,
Well, we haven't adopted it,
No,
No,
so,
we adopted this.
No.
No,
we
this
haven't
is-
adopted this, we've adopted
this
the
one here, right?
privacy
Oh, we
policy.
did, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
this one's a little bit.
This one,
this is the compliance policy.
Yeah.
okay.
This is with your website, right?
Uh-huh.
yeah, I've read through it. I don't have any questions. It seems pretty straightforward.
We're not keeping anything on our website,
Well,
right?
no, not on our website.
Right, that's what, and this is specifically, this adoption is specifically with regards to the website, though.
Doubt it. I bet it's about
I think it's,
data we have about people. We've got Everbridge, we've got fire department records.
But that's
we
not
got-
our website, that's our privacy policy, and we already adopted a privacy policy. This is mainly our website.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Do we take any information? I mean, we don't get any forms on our website, we don't let people
No, I'm not aware of any.
submit any documentation over the website, everything goes to a third party, which we are working with, I've been in touch with the state a couple different times and talked with them on the GDPA policy, and they said our privacy policy looks good, we just needed to adopt this for our website. And then we probably will put on our website somewhere on there that any third-party sites that you may be directed to from our city website. We'll put a statement on disclosing. So doing, so if they go to City Inspect, or if they go sign up on Everbridge, or those are really the main two. Express Bill Pay is the other one. Those are the three where we'll collect, where those third-party vendors may collect data. But otherwise, we don't collect any.
It seems straightforward when I had read through it.
Okay, no questions? Okay, then we will move on to number 7, discussion of a change of zoning for 65 East Mountain Vale from an R12 to an R1 and R119. Correct, it's the 2 different zones, right, for that one parcel?
Yes.
Wonderful, okay, Wayne?
When this first came to our attention, we worked with Spencer a little bit to help her in what she wants to do. There was a condition placed upon the zone change. She's got a lot that's a little over, I think, 2 acres right now, and she wants to divide it. So we've, the division will be, one lot will be an R1 1 acre, and the other will be a 1R19. And the stipulation was that it couldn't be smaller than 0.75 acres. And she's made it 0.8, what, 81? 80, and it shows that on your drawing. So that was the stipulation that the planning commission asked her to make, which she's made. So we all voted in favor of that proposal for the lot division. It's a little different, and I just wanted to explain that to you all and let her come forward and answer any other questions that you might have. on that.
Did we establish the setbacks?
The setbacks will be with the zone.
Correct, so it needs to be right and left, could be either side, right? It could be 15 feet on the right and 20 on the left, or vice versa.
Yes, for the R119.
Yeah, did that get established
No.
on which side is which?
No,
Okay, does that need to be established for the recording of the plat?
I don't think so. Let her decide in that which side she wants to do that. And normally that should be done when the plat is recorded. So that information should go on the plat.
So that will be a step we need prior to recording that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a question for Jody. I noticed on the ordinance here, the addendum page is blank. Is that addendum going to be the pictures that we saw elsewhere? Yep, okay, that's it, okay.
I would do that same thing.
I apologize, yeah, exhibit A will include the picture that was part of
That's
the
what I thought.
application and the staff explanation on why the request for the zone change.
Any questions for Christie?
Did this have to go to the neighbors?
Yeah.
Or has it yet? So it
So
has?
this is the public hearing that was on the
I see
schedule
the
for
list, but I
tonight.
don't really get the feelings of the list.
Yeah, so the public hearing that was on the schedule for tonight, notices went out to all surrounding property owners. I did have one property owner call me and ask about it, which told me that they got the notices. So it's always good when someone calls me and asks about it.
And did they have any concerns or just questions?
Just a question.
Okay.
So you heard no negative?
I didn't hear anything back from any of them.
I mean, we have several properties like this in the community.
Was that done by letter?
Yes. These letters were sent out at the beginning of October.
It's not unusual.
Wow.
It's not here.
Open your mail, people. Okay,
Exactly.
thank you.
They don't care.
And
till
the public hearing notice also went out at the beginning of October as well, so it's been on the state website, our city website, and it was mailed to the surrounding property owners.
Okay. Now, we have received a few concerns. One was we did get sent in and will be part of the public record. We've received a few concerns concerning, spot zoning or the interpretation thereof of what that means. We've done a lot of research on our end on that. Wayne, would you like to kind of speak to that as well as what you learned today, Carrie? So Wayne first.
The research that I have done, spot zoning is more often referred to as when you have a residential area and there's a church that wants to have a spot in there or school or a hospital, something outside of the normal residential character of the neighborhood. That's what we see mostly, and what the research I've done is mostly referred to spot zoning. Carrie did, and I'll let her speak to the research that she's done, and that adds to that that understanding of more of what spot zoning is. So Planning Commission was comfortable with the proposal that was made here with dividing the lot in that way. It's the one lot is not going to, it's an R119 because of we don't have anything that would better suit that particular division in the rezone. And that's one reason that we limited it to 0.75 acres or no less than 0.75 acres in size, and that accommodated her, what she wants to do as well as what we felt worked with the city. So Carrie can add to that spot
Hey,
zoning.
was your vote unanimous?
It was.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
There have been some people who may have thought that spot zoning is against state code. So I contacted a legislator who is also a planner by profession and talked to them about about this idea of spot zoning. And I was told that if our subdivision ordinances are in compliance, meaning that there's significant frontage and the ability for the setbacks, et cetera, and all of our other things are in compliance with our current process, then we are okay to do this. As long as we would allow the same process for someone else in the same area who might have the same conditions that you have. Because we want to keep zoning consistent in neighborhoods. And so it's not, if we do that and we allow that process for anyone and we're not giving you preferential treatment, then it's not considered spot zoning. For example, like Wayne had said, if we were having a church or a school or a hospital or something else that wanted to build in our city, but needed more or less space, we could zone for that particular thing. Or if your whole area was 1 acre and we suddenly just gave your neighbor a 1/4 acre and said, we'll change the frontage, we'll change everything just for you, then that would be considered spot zoning. So, you know, a few people have mentioned that the general plan, and our general plan is a guidance for our city, not a binding document. And we all want to be consistent with our purpose and our quality of life in that, but we also don't want to hinder the requests of citizens who, for whatever reason, who have larger pieces of property, be forced to not subdivide when other people have been allowed in other areas. And so with that, I don't believe that this is spot zoning. I think that you have gone through the process with the application. The Planning Commission has brought it back to us and with the recommendation that we do this, and I don't see any reason why we shouldn't.
I too also went and kind of, you know, because I want to make sure that we're abiding by the laws that we swore an oath to, each of us. So I pulled up the zone maps, you know, so here's Provo, and I'm sorry I anticipated people to be present, but you know, you can see there it is, you know, quite speckled. And as you zoom in, there are differences in residential areas that have different coloring maps. Mapleton, similar map. Spanish Fork, very similar map. Salem even, less so.
And show them just stuff.
So you can kind of see
Each color's a different zoning, right?
and yes, some of them are commercial, some of them are residential, and then there's flecks of residential throughout. And so this is something also that I pulled up that was, and I missed grabbing that one. I pulled up our general plan map. And it basically has predominantly the entire city as a low density. And when you define or research what low density means, it's typically 4 units per acre is considered low density or less, which this would fall into as low density. We then have higher density that is potentially allocated. This is on our 2017 general plan map, which is the current document that we're working from, the most recent adopted general plan. Down in the Four Seasons area, so down by our stake center, and across that frontage is mapped or general plan future zoning allocation of a higher density. And then in front of, or in between the 2 churches, it then actually flips over into commercial for a potential future zoning map. So I personally also do feel that this is in compliance with state law and statute. So thank you. Any other questions or comments?
And you're not the only one that we've approved these changes for. It's just come up as an issue recently, so. We just wanted to research it and make sure that we were doing it right.
Yeah.
It's not that anyone's questioning what you're doing, they're questioning what we're doing.
Ben, did you say our plan is low density? Our plan is medium density, is it not? Based
No,
on
so
what you
medium
said?
density is down in the Four Seasons area with the highest density zoning as well. And it's the future map, so it's not zoned that way.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, I understand that.
In case there.
Yeah,
we
but the
choose,
vast majority of the entire city is that yellow color, which is considered low density.
Which is still
Green.
1 acre
we do not have, as far as I'm aware, any zoning less than 4 units per acre. Because an R119 is only 3 per acre, correct?
Correct.
So all of our zoning in the entire city would fall under low zoning, low
There's an
density.
overlay in Summit Creek.
Oh,
If they
yeah,
choose to do that, it does allow for.
that higher
more than
density,
4
I remember
units
that
per
now.
acre.
Thank you. So, perfect.
All right,
Okay, thank you. Ted, we will go to department updates with Public Works and the Fire Department.
You guys wanna know?
Give us an update.
Where's the money?
That's what I wanna know, where's the money?
We just want a speech.
He's just a speech. So we've had, just update on Public Works, we've had 2 water line breaks in the last 2 weeks.
How many of them were caused by our diggers?
I think, potentially one was a partial. The first one was just a pipeline crack. So we got that one fixed a couple of weeks ago. That was
Old line?
not really. It was ductile iron. I checked it to see if it was maybe due to corrosion, which is kind of what we were about ductile iron, but it was really just a cracked pipe. It actually had a hole in it, like it'd been rubbing on a rock or something. It actually had 2 holes in it, that one about 5 feet apart. So that was a pretty substantial one. We had to dig up a lot of pipeline to get that one fixed, but it's fixed now, patched.
Where was that one at?
We only put 1 house out of service on that one, and I let the contractors go notify the homeowner. I wasn't about to.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, it was my house. Yeah. Yeah, it was right on Cougar Run, but my meter comes off, my service comes off Cougar Run, that cul-de-sac right by my house there. And that's where it was.
Yeah, we didn't need to fix that one.
So,
I've been watching it for about 2
did the
years.
homeowner just let you have it?
I stay away from the house. I have a contract. You tell you, you gotta.
So that's why you went hunting?
Because it wasn't a 48-hour notice. It was that morning notice. Yeah, and then I went hunting. No. This was 2 weeks ago, but we got it fixed. It all worked out great. We weren't out of water that long, but it took about 3 days to get that one fixed though. Then just yesterday, last night, we got notified by a homeowner of another one. Went down there and this one was pouring out water. Pretty substantial leak. It was, I believe what happened on this one, it's a 6-inch lateral that goes to a fire hydrant. And it's on Autumn Leaf Circle. And it's the new fire hydrant we just replaced last spring. However, the pipe didn't get replaced, just the hydrant, so it's still the same pipe. I think, trying to be a bit of a water detective, I think what happened, because the fiber crew was down there working all weekend, right on that spot, pulling cable. And they were hooking cable to their truck. Neighbor told us they were hooked the cable to their truck, then pull forward, then back up, hook the cable back up, pull forward. And that's how they were pulling the cable, was with their truck. And I think in this valve, there's a valve that goes to the hydrant and it's off in the shoulder, so the valve box stuck up a little bit. I think they ran over it. And when they did that, the pipe below seemed to be sitting on maybe a rock. So as they ran over the valve, it pushed down on the pipe and it cracked right away. So, anyway.
So when you get the bills back, could you let us know what those 2 as a whole cost? So we can, again, we've been talking budget and what kind of monies we need to keep for emergencies. And it would be nice to know where we've got 2 in just a couple of weeks, what we could be looking at. And these are emergency calls, so they're gonna be our highest dollar calls. So it would be nice to know.
Yeah, and that first one was a pretty substantial,
And that was
it's
a
a
big
bigger
one,
fix
yeah.
than what we normally run into. It was.
Correct, but if we could kind of, I think it would help give us some ideas that we're on the right track or not. with
Yeah,
how much
maybe
we
we need
decided to
more.
save.
That one, we had to excavate up a good chunk of road, which was one we'd micro sealed. And then we also had to take out a bunch of our concrete curb that we have to put back and
Oh,
we had to
wow,
take a whole
that's
section of
expensive.
pipe up. redo my service because it was on the pipe that was broke that they had to replace, so they had to unconnect the service and redo all the service line again, and so it was kind of a big one, that one.
Define big, wild ballpark.
Dollar wise, you mean?
Yeah,
Road repair, the whole works.
So the road repair was 1,900, I've already got that.
Oh, that's not.
That was just the pavement. I'm guessing on the repair, we're gonna be in the 10 grand-ish, 10,000 probably.
For that one?
For that one.
Okay.
If I had to guess. Now, we supplied the pipe to repair it, because we had PVC pipe down here in our. So we supplied the pipe. They had to supply corp stock. We had one, but it didn't work, so they had to get a new one. We had the piece of poly that they had to put in to stub back into my service. But it took them just a good day because the pipe was not only in the ground, but it was jacked on an angle. And so they really had to cut and bust and break and saw. It took them several hours just to get that whole pipe out of there with that joint on an angle. And then we had 2 couplings that we had in our shop, so a lot of the parts we had.
I just think knowing would help give us some either comfort or uncomfortness with the money that we're wanna leave aside.
Well, I'm thinking about this in the sense of, this was not just a wear and tear break. This wasn't infrastructure, degradation. This was a potential breakage from this contractor. Are we going to pass that cost on?
I've already notified them, what happened. Not telling them this, I think it was probably a half and half, right? Had the pipe not been sitting on a rock, I don't think it would have broke if they'd run over the valve, but because it wasn't, and they ran over the valve, just a combination of the two broke it. Had they not hit it, it probably would have sat there for years without breaking.
Was the valve it's off the side, right?
It's out in the shoulder.
Yeah.
It's out in a dirt shoulder off on
Driving
just.
on it, right?
Yeah, they were out in the shoulder just pulling, and I think you could see a tire track that went right to the valve box.
Wow.
So I know they're probably not going to admit to it, but we're pretty sure they ran over that, and then the pipe just happened to be sitting on a rock is what the contractor had.
when will they be completely done?
Yeah.
Well, which deadline do you want?
I mean, the realistic one, what's the?
The day the snow falls, I don't know.
The first realistic or the second realistic one they gave us? So November 15th is our current deadline.
Okay,
They are pretty much done with conduit. They're pulling cable right now. They have a few small spots they were working on over the weekend to get some conduit in, but they are pretty much done with that. They're mostly now pulling cable.
And so no more Sunday operations?
They got a huge, so we did send an email about that. Sent one yesterday to them, and I was actually out of town when that happened, but I saw the messages that went between Jody and the contractor and wasn't very happy. I sent him an email to let him know that and said there's probably a fine coming. There is a fine for working on Sunday.
well, and they were saying that they had permission.
From you.
Which was a little upsetting. So what our code says and what I
They
actually
kind of
read
threw
to
you under the
him,
bus a little bit.
they can work on Sunday. Anybody can work on Sunday. You just can't be using equipment or tools.
You just have to be quiet.
So you have to be really quiet. Yeah. So don't mow your lawn on Sunday. But
Yeah, whoops. Can I shovel snow?
yeah, I think this is meant for really like backhoe, track hose and doing large stuff out there. But anyway, if they were just pulling cable, probably wouldn't have been a violation of our code, but because they were using a mooring machine and stuff like that, then it violated our code. So they weren't violating for working on Sunday. They violated because they were using noisy equipment on Sunday.
Yeah, I was bothered that they threw you under the bus.
Yeah, me too, because what I told them,
Yeah.
actually read the code, I says, we can't stop you from working on Sunday, but you can't be using tools or equipment. That's what I told him. And,
And we didn't say and block the whole street.
yeah, and so then when he was texting Jody, he was saying, well, we got a permission from Ted. Well, no, I told him we can't stop him from doing things that were just if they were using equipment or tools, there's nothing we could do because it doesn't violate our code, but.
Okay, thank you.
But they did, and the frustrating thing was, is once they even found that out, they didn't stop. They just basically said, yeah, too bad, we're gonna keep going. That's what was frustrating. So there's probably gonna be a fine going their way.
Wonderful.
I'm
Okay.
gonna pass that on to our code enforcement officer.
I support the fine.
Okay.
We've already been warned. So our road projects are pretty much wrapped up for the year. So we're picking those up again next year. We're working right now on, I just reviewed the final drawing package today with the engineers for the next phase. that we're gonna put out to bid, so we can get costs for next year's project. Probably go out here in a couple of weeks, 2-3 weeks to bid on that one, see what prices we get.
And then that would start like end of April, depending on snow and all that?
Yeah, we generally tell them probably mid-May, and then we give them, we don't give them really like a deadline. We say you can begin mid-May, you just have to be done by this date. We find you get better pricing that way if you don't put a pressure on them if you don't have to.
Mhm.
So we just say, you can start when you want, be done by whatever, August 30th, and let them pick their schedule. Then we get better
But
pricing.
you put our code in their bid package, so they see our code for not working on Sundays.
Yeah, well, and we even reviewed it with them in the meeting. That was the other frustrating thing. So they were aware. They never had my permission. I never told them they could.
The stripe on Woodland Hills Drive on the road that will be repaired next year. Do you have an update there? We're gonna do that next year with that update.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what we talked about in the staff meeting was that, because Woodland Hills Drive, they restriped portions of it that were paved. There are portions of Woodland Hills Drive that will be done next year that we didn't restripe because we're gonna be tearing it up next year. So we'll just restripe it next year with that paving project.
It'd just be a waste of money to do it at this point, right?
And I have a public comment about that. Very thankful the way that striping looks. They're straight, they look good from
Yeah.
Versus
We hired
prior
a solar
striping?
company.
others in the community, so they like the striping.
We hired a solar company.
Pass that on.
It was short, so the further away you get from the bucket, it's really hard to keep straight.
So good job on that, Ted. Serious from the community.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. Okay, so that's our roads. Fire, I don't think we really have any updates. Next week will be the final week of our wildland crew. They're actually off this week on vacation. And then next week, they're gonna come and wrap up everything, get the trucks cleaned up, get everything organized, put back together, and then they'll be done for the season.
Dora was missed at the charity
Can I
event.
ask a question?
What you?
The charity.
I might cause problems.
I might have already addressed this as that.
That's the
I'm
one.
used to it.
It was asked of council and we said no to paying Lance for his travel time. But I think is he getting paid for his travel time? Cause I had heard that he might be. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
No, he works generally, he's here by 7-ish in the morning. He's usually here when I get here. And I get here at 7:30 and they work till 5:30. They work like 4 10s.
Okay. I just I had just heard that he might be getting paid for travel time and I know that we talked about that and we did not want that to happen, so.
Yeah,
I
he gets
wanted to
no
ask.
overtime and he's generally, he might leave some days and go do like paperwork, training activities and stuff like that, which is fine. That's part of his job responsibilities. He's not just hired to cut trees, he's got
Yeah.
other responsibilities to the crew, to the department. So he might be doing other things some days, planning trainings or stuff like that, working on paperwork. Cause he has to do he's the one that puts all the paperwork together when they get home from fires, stuff like that.
Okay, I appreciate the clarification.
Wonderful, thank you.
That's all I got. Unless you got any questions.
Fire department news.
No, we've got Halloween.
Trunk or
Wear your
treat.
Easter costumes. Now Halloween, this Friday, so we'll send out an announcement for the fire department. We'll have the fire engines there and decorate them and stuff like that. The typical.
Kathy's taking care of,
Kathy
She's
decorates.
she's got you again.
She's volunteered the
She texted me, and told me that
Yeah.
she did.
scheduled the time, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
It's
she's
gonna
gonna
be
air,
fun.
she's gonna have air at 4 o'clock on Friday and we'll decorate and head down there. So.
Wonderful, thank you.
Cool.
Okay, Wayne, planning commission and code zoning enforcement. Thank you, Spencer.
Ted covered our zone code enforcement a little bit with the action that will be taken with a fine. Let me bring you up to date a little bit on the mail facility. I've only gotten one inquiry from the public about any thoughts that they might have on our mail facility for.
The enclosed one.
Yes. So we've met with Postmaster Salem and with our mail delivery person to get input from them as to what would work for them as we migrate to this other facility. Another planning commission member and myself are meeting with an architect in the morning to get his views. He hasn't been given the job or anything yet. That will be up to Three Bridges. But we want to show him what our plans are. And I've talked to Three Bridges, and then we'll go back to Three Bridges and get input from them as to whether we hire this person or not. It's an architect that one of our planning commission members has worked with in the past, and very comfortable with him and the work that he's done. So it's progressing.
So we're gonna have it indoors and have like hot cocoa and donuts
That's right.
available at all
That's right.
times.
A barrister there to serve.
We want a fireplace and a lounge area.
Let me add that, just a minute. Hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Delta has nothing on their sky level,
No.
not like yours.
So, I'm open, any thoughts, suggestions that you have. Once we get things a little bit more finalized, I'll send a list around to you all of kind of the requirements that we've thought about having there, and then you're welcome to add to that when the time comes, or anytime. So any questions on that? Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so council reports, and Mayor, do you have anything for personnel?
No, just keep on doing great work. So that sounds like a weak pep talk, but it's been a long day. But no, everything's going well there.
Good. Myself, emergency management, we had a meeting today, and we kind of talked about a few different things, but we did have a presentation from the Utah Lake Commission. And they talked about a few different things safety-wise there in conjunction with the emergency managers. They talked about how they're planting stuff to kind of regrow some of the vegetation, and very interesting stuff, but yeah. That's
Well,
pretty
there's
much
a
it
lot
there.
of, and also a lot of
This is
the
my turn.
resources that are used.
This is my turn.
I'm just saying that there's a lot of resources used for search and rescue.
Yes, yes, indeed.
That's where the tie is to emergency management.
Exactly, thank you. Okay, Councilmember Hutchings.
We haven't had a public works meeting, and Ted's got it all handled, and he doesn't need us. Wayne, my deepest apologies. I was on the East Coast and I fell asleep and didn't make the meeting.
Is that what that snoring was coming through?
Park Trails and Recs, I haven't met, but they are, they put together a proposed lighting ordinance that they want to put onto your next agenda. And would like you to take a look at that. I believe Sherry I believe I just saw her send it out again. And so they would like you to take a look at that at your next meeting if you could.
Okay.
I'd appreciate that. That's all I've got.
Perfect, sorry. I had somebody show up at my house and my wife's at fire training, so I'm playing double duty.
Kinnison Council.
Yes, Councilmember Kinnison,
So
public safety.
if you listened real closely to Ben, that's my most important announcement tonight is that we have 2 people in fire training in the city, and they're both women and highly qualified. One of them is Ben's wife and the other one is Rachel Wallace. So we're really proud of those 2 for that. That is a big chore going through fire training. So anyway, thanks to them and we wish them well in completing it. Thursday is Elk Night. That's the 30th from I think 7 p.m.
Yeah, it starts at 7.
7 p.m. it starts.
Uh-huh.
So we're making sure that comes off, and thanks Ben and Terry for helping with that, getting things set up. I think we're almost out of the summer fire season, at least. I think Ted's sleeping a little better without having threat of fire in our city, so we just need some snow, right?
Now it's carbon monoxide season.
Yeah, anyway, so that's all the updates I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Lunt?
So the finance committee, we haven't met, so nothing there. Communication team, just working on the next newsletter. You know, as we've done campaigning, we've been listening to the citizens and trying to take suggestions. I think they've had some good ones. So we, you know, what coming the new year, if I get reelected or whoever, I think there's some good ideas maybe to improve and make it even better ways to get a hold of everybody. So that's been the biggest thing for communication. And then events and volunteers, we have trunk or treat on Friday night. We have a full crew. We're excited. Kathy Anderson, bless her heart, she loves Halloween. So she just does it all and runs with it. And we did get a caution. I've posted it once and I'll post it again probably in the morning, just from the stake. There is some concern just with everything that's been going on and the Charlie Kirk thing and the church bombing and just the political climate that we're in. Just kind of spread the word to people that, you know, they don't want anything that's going to make anybody upset or angry. So nothing politically motivated, like try to stay away from anything political, try to stay away from anything that's going to incite anger in anybody just because of kind of the environment that we're in these days.
No dressing up like a candidate.
I'm gonna be Day of the Dead, so it'll be fine. You won't even recognize me. Anyway, so yeah, so, and then we have the donuts and the hot cocoa again, and that's all in the backseat of my Jeep, not the donuts. The donuts will be fresh, but anyway, so it'll be really fun. We have a whole crew for that, and everybody helps to clean up, and the crew even comes back the next day in the daylight. Like we do as much as we can in the dark cleaning up, and then they come back the next morning and finish the cleanup. So the church doesn't even know we were there hardly, so it's really good.
I did drive through November 1st last year to check that, and it was really clean. They just
Yeah.
had a few little things.
We stayed late and we had like the flashlights on our phones and we were walking around.
That's hard, yeah.
But I think this year we'll do, I'm gonna suggest, because we did it with Woodland Hills Days, is a lot of us, I have a couple, you know, the camping lights that you can, we brought those for after, so you can see for cleanup in the dark. So I think we'll bring a few of those to help clean up. But anyway, so it should be good. And then, you know, Councilmember Lunt's gonna take a time out for a minute on activities. There's been a lot. It was campaigning. It really makes it a lot. I'm tired.
Great. Councilmember Markovich.
As Brian said, everything about Public Works was said by Ted. We didn't have a committee meeting. And the same with community development. The community development chair, Kirsten Thomas, was here earlier and gave a report. The next meeting is November 17th, and they will hopefully be able to finalize their draft to send to Planning Commission.
Do you know what time that is?
5 p.m. That's what we usually meet at 5 p.m. But let me just double check. Yes, 5 p.m. Yep, 5
Perfect.
p.m.
Thank you. Okay, any upcoming agenda items that anybody wants to introduce? Yes.
So I sent out an email earlier today about next month's city council meeting. And just wondering what council's thoughts are. Are we going to postpone the November 11th meeting and hold the meeting on the 18th after the county gets us the election results at around 2 p.m. on the November 18th?
I said yes.
I said yes too.
I vote yes.
I vote yes, one meeting.
Yes.
One meeting on the 18th. Does that give you enough time?
I have to have it done by the 18th and I'll get the results at 2 p.m. So yes.
Okay, then let's do it. As long as it's not gonna put any extra burden on you, let's just do the
So we'll
one.
still meet at our normal time at 6, but on the 18th instead of the 11th.
That was what I was wondering.
Yes, I vote yes.
Doral?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yeah, that works.
Perfect. Let's plan on it. Wonderful, thank you. Okay, then we will close the work session and we will reconvene for the city council meeting at, what do you want? Should we go
Just give us like 5-10 minutes.
8:15?
Now.
Wonderful. Okay, I'd like to call this city council meeting to order. We will have an invocation by Councilmember Kinnison and then a pledge by Councilmember Lunt.
Father in heaven, we are grateful this evening to gather and discuss the important things in our city. We ask thee to help us make good decisions and to work well together and to maintain respect and listen to each other and come up with the best for our city. We are grateful for this place we live, and we are grateful for the citizens around us and for the things we enjoy in this community. We ask thee a blessing on those who need anything at this time that would be aware of them and help them. We're thankful for the opportunity to meet and to do this and to live in this country. And we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Stand. Repeat after me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, we'd like to enter into the public comment portion. If there's anybody that has anything they would like to say. Sherry.
Oh, yes. Hi, good evening, everybody. Thanks for a great meeting so far. 2 comments. One is, would it be possible to put on Exhibit A to the fee schedule document that's online, what all the little stars mean? Like I have a yellow star, some people have blue stars, some people have red stars.
Is this the
there's
sewer
no-
map?
What's that?
Is this the sewer map you're referring to?
I guess that's what it is. It just says Exhibit A. If we could have a key that explained what the color stars meant.
I think we could probably print something.
It doesn't say anything. Oh, my other comment is about the mailboxes. When the new mailboxes that Three Bridges is gonna build for us. Oh, I'd love to see something like Summit Creek. And also, would you please take into consideration what we currently have? That we have water, we have electric, we have landscaping. And in terms of the city lighting that's gonna be placed there, would it be possible to have the fixtures point down and only have them be in accordance with what our lighting ordinances are for how bright they are or how tall? The big tall one right now that's near the chapel really hits you in the eye when you're coming up Woodland Hills Drive. So those are my 2 comments. Thanks for everything you do. You guys are the best.
Thank you, Sherry. Okay, anybody else? Okay, then we will close the public comment and we will move on to our business. Number 15, adoption of the GDPA compliance policy.
So moved. I'll second it.
Wonderful. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes unanimously. Number 16, ordinance 2025-35, adoption of change in zoning of 65 East Mountain Vale.
I'll make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Hutchings,
Yes.
Councilmember Kinnison,
Yes.
Councilmember Lund,
Yes.
Councilmember Hilliard, yes. Councilmember Malkovich,
Yes.
and that has passed as well. I don't think we have any reason to go into a closed session. And so do I have a motion for an adjournment?
I move. That's kind of my chore.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
And Doral, I sent an email.
I saw that.
I thought you might like that.
Just